I'm often asked how to find one's unique voice. I often ask back, what did you do with it? We're born absolutely 100% unique. There isn't another human on the planet with your voice nor your thumbprint. Identical twins included. So with that as the origin of our voice, where does it go? Why do we lose our authentic self when we open our mouths to sing? At the very moment, we want to represent that the best. The answer for that goes back to culture. Typically, the culture we're born into. There is a very social nature to our brains. Humans are very social animals. And so the household we're born into is a small microculture. The neighborhood, the state, the country, the hemisphere, right? You could keep expanding those circles back. There are rules in those cultures that we're born into, and they're invisible to us, but they are very much what program our behavior, our beliefs, and therefore our voices, our singing. When you think about it, the brain itself is a if-then machine. That's all it knows. Your brain cannot separate social harm from physical harm. It doesn't know the difference. So the odd thing is, the brain will respond with equal fear, equal reaction when you're approaching physical harm. Dangling off a balcony on the 4th story of a building, your brain will be firing away at the adrenaline and telling you like, Mayday, this is terrible, we got to get out of this situation. And the same thing's true if you're standing on a stage about to sing a song that you're insecure about. Your brain is sending the same signals sometimes of shooting adrenaline through our system saying like, get out of this situation. Why? Because it's fearing social harm. And it deems that equally important as falling from a 4-story balcony. That's crazy. It's just a song. And so our good intentions come against the current of whatever culture we were born into. My particular culture, the household I was born into, my mother, there was 5 of us, I'm one of 5, so my mother wanted a quiet household. And my father had very clear opinions about singing and the way it should happen and who should participate in it. And I was not a member of that group. And so there were 2 sort of negative cultures that I was born into that I had zero idea as to that I was in this current, if you will. So my mother liked to take a nap around 3 o'clock. Of course, that's when I'm coming home from school. So my brother and I would be horsing around and you could just count down the seconds. The second we raised our voice, the door would open. It's like, boys, keep your voice down. I can't think with you guys fooling around like that. So I was constantly told, keep your voice down, keep your voice down, keep your voice down. My mother had no idea that she was programming me to struggle singing. That was never her intent. As a parent now, I completely relate to why she was saying this. But this is the point. I was too young. She had no idea this was going on. This was not something that was supposed to extend well into my life. My father, on the other hand, was dead against me becoming a singer, thought it was a crazy idea, thought it was not in my DNA, nor in our culture, and so was very verbal about that I was delusional and in denial. Obviously, that put a pox on my ability to sing. So when I did muster the courage to sing, all I knew to do was to borrow from somebody that was pre-approved. Some rock singer, some jazz singer, some soul singer that I knew was already approved. Well, if I made that sound, then I would be out of social harm. I would be out of the spotlight. And so we are quite often trained to imitate those that have already been pre-approved. I speak like a combination of my father and my mother, and that was never sort of my intention. It was because that's how I picked up on my language skills, by listening, right? And so our brains are always absorbing this. So whatever situation you were born into, what created from day one is we have to figure out how to get along in our little mini culture. So if there's a loud sibling, you're going to be the soft one. If there's a quiet sibling, you're going to be the loud one. If there's a serious one, you're going to be the funny one. You're going to find your place, and this is before we even have an identity. We're always looking for where we belong in this pecking order, so to speak. And so looking for your authentic voice is much like peeling away all the layers of an onion. But in this context, it's peeling away all the cultural rules, all the facade, all the imitation, all the things that protected us from social harm. And again, mostly unintentionally imposed. This was not something that somebody told us to do. We figured it out to get along. And it's when we start to sing that people are assuming that we're going to just release and be this absolute unique being. That would be wonderful. And it's true for some people. But for most of us, we've got to do a little digging. And this is why I'm a big proponent of vocal exercises, because I've never heard a famous singer do the exercise that I'm about to do. So all I'm left with is my voice that I'm hearing back as I vocalize. And I think this is a very important step, because as I get to know what I sound like when I'm vocalizing, I can hear a difference, or I could, when I was younger, hear a difference when I go to sing. I'd sound one way doing scales and slides and different various exercises, and I'd sound a completely different way when singing a song, especially a song by the artist that I admire. So I'm getting lured into his or her vocal timbre because I know that will be pre-approved. So I highly recommend, to discover your own voice is to spend a lot of time vocalizing and listen to it, record it, listen back. What attributes do you find appealing when you just hold out an ah? It's as simple as, we'll play a chord here. I'll give you an idea. Oh. Now you. Same melody, you go. Oh, let's hear you. Now, if we just stretch this a little bit. Oh, something to that effect. Take liberty with the melody. Invent a way. And here. There, it's as simple as that. You've never heard anyone sing what you just did. And so what did you notice? Hopefully you recorded yourself singing those little ad-lib melodies. What needs work? What were you surprised about? What were you disappointed in? There's the list, the to-do list that should emerge for your vocalizing. This is how to become performance ready, knowing that you've clicked off all of the boxes and that you're marching towards your unique self.